The Dark Pictures anthology continues with Little Hope, and the cover star of the week, that's what I'm calling it, is Will Poulter. Now, I'm not familiar with much of his older work, so it's really the last maybe 5 to 10 years that I'm familiar with him. But what I've seen, I've enjoyed. His performance in Bandersnatch was great. I enjoyed that so much. We have Guardians 3. I know some people might have issue with the himbo interpretation of Adam Warlock, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great performance. He did what he had to. Like, he was given a role, given a job, and he did it really well. I wouldn't be surprised if some ad-libs in there. You know, I can believe it from what I've seen of the guy. And finally, the other main thing I know him from was Midsommar, and this isn't against him as an actor, but the character was so unlikable that it was almost like a cheering moment when he was killed off. But again, that's how well he's performed the role. He's transformed what was written on the page into this characterization, and it works. So when it came to this, with the others, I've watched the extras. I love to do that, like way back, you know, with Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff, and DVDs even further. I've always loved to see the behind the scenes, how the sausage is made, as they say. And in the interview, he comes across very likeable, very warm, very open to doing new things. That's kind of what drew him to this, it seems. And being perhaps slightly younger than some people, if you will, like some actors, it was probably a lot easier. He's probably grown up playing games and stuff like that. With his role in Bandersnatch, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, he's taking things like this. But that's me projecting. I don't know. But I really did love his performance in this. And again, everyone's performance in this I thought was really great. He's one of those actors who can elevate everyone around him. That's what I get from this. And the story of this is so interesting. The fact that it does away with the jump scare dependence that Man of Medan had. There's a lot of moments where it's like, boo. And I'm like, I don't live for that. I did a video a while back on horror and anxiety, and the fact that you can like horror with anxiety. You can have that and still enjoy, you know, maybe more psychological horror. Jump scares are still something that does work on me, but in the negative way. I'm not going, that was fun. I'm like, stop. I have a condition. So the fact that it leaned more into the psychological, you know, sort of seeing things just as shadows in the background and a growing mystery of why we're flashing forward and back. Because this opens in the 70s and a house burns down and we see all these characters, but then we go to a more modern time and we see Will Poulter again, who was in the first bit, but he doesn't look like 30, 40 years older. So what's going on here? That was the first moment I'm like, I'm intrigued. And then we see the other characters who look exactly like the people in the 70s as well, but they've all got alliterative names. For example, like you'd have Angela and Anne or something like that. It's all to keep, maybe it's to help people who are less good at drawing those connections. Like they have the same letter at the start of their name. This is something you might need to pay attention to. Some might call that a bit hand-holdy if that was the intent, but to make sure the story is told well so they can actually get that audience reaction that they're after, I can kind of let it slide. It's not like the tutorials that are literally press forward to move, press A to jump. You'd probably figure that on your own. Mario didn't tell you. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so we have these different storylines, and then we also go back to the witch trial era. And I saw something the other day that I absolutely loved, and it's weird that it's happened just before I'm recording this. But it was something like, Christians didn't burn witches at the stake. They set fire to women they couldn't control. Because a lot of the witch trials around the world have been, I say a lot, probably all of them actually, but they have been politically motivated. I can't do whatever with this person, so I'm going to say they're a witch. Remove them as the problem. 90% of the time, the problem's actually the person doing that. And I could do a whole video on witch trials and the wrongness, but I'll actually probably save that for something else that I've had on my list for so long, and it'll be a lot more relevant for that. Random tease for a future project. I do this all the time. But still, yes, this game, it, you know, brings you forward, backwards through time, and you're building this story together. And the reveal at the end, I don't want to spoil too much, I've said that in a lot of games, because I think these kind of things are best experienced. There are, I believe, at least 4 endings. I think it's probably more than now that I'm kind of going through it in my head. I got the, I think, second best, but there was one that was even better. I'm not the kind of person to go through and play multiple routes. I've said that so many times. So my version of the story is canonical. 2 people survived. Compared to my Man of Medan run, I was very upset by that. But I was upset justifiably. a mechanic they implemented in this, and at least in the next one, they didn't bring it back, thankfully. I'm not sure if it's in The Devil in Me, I've still got to play that. But it was this idea of locked character traits. So you do certain things and it would unlock character traits. And I just thought it was, a fun little completion exercise, like you can try and do this if you really want. But I tried to play it true to the character like I did with Madame. However, surviving requires you to unlock these character traits. Not having something that says that, I know I've talked about hand-holding tutorials, but not having something that at least hints at this was annoying to me. I really did enjoy this game. I want to say that, I definitely did enjoy it, which is why I'm talking so positively about it in general. But I definitely docked at least 5 to 10 marks off my rating, because I've started rating on how long to beat when I complete a game now. I always forget by the time I come to do a video. I think it was maybe about 80, which says that I really still did enjoy it, but I would have enjoyed it more without that factor. I really do think that hampered my enjoyment, because I did everything I could, as far as I could see, everything I could. I was trying so hard to keep everyone alive. I was like, do this, it'll save them. And then to get that thing of like, oh, by the way, because you didn't unlock foolhardy or whatever, these people died. It really annoyed me. But still, I enjoyed it. The gut punch of the ending is definitely worth playing through. I know I've said this thing, but now this is my warning to you. If you play through it, make sure to unlock the character traits of people you want to survive. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, because this isn't a walkthrough. If you want to do that, fine. But seriously, I did enjoy this for the most part, just one little design problem. So yeah, Little Hope, great entry into the series. I'd say it's probably better than the next one, but I think the subject matter is what took me away from that. But we'll get to that in a future episode. So thank you very much, as always, for letting me talk about this, and until next time, take care.